My wife's like, why do you even tell me what the value of the cards is? You never sell them, and they just go into the safe. I'm like, doesn't it just make us all feel better? Just saying, hey, it's
so that way
bill that nobody's going to spend. I'm just going to put in here and lock up for eternity. But hey, whatever.
You know why? It's important because when you die before her, because we all know we will die.
She knows the value.
Spouses,
yeah, that's fair.
She knows the value. You want her to get fair market value for that card. You don't want her losing money.
She's not dropping that shit off at Goodwill.
We are hard, very hard here, because we have finally got Battle Hardened coming to Minneapolis, and by the good graces, you should be watching all the coverage on Outcast Haven's channel. That is the excitement that we are bringing today. Battle Hardened in Minneapolis. Super stoked. Today, for everybody watching, I'm going to pull up my show notes, show everybody, because that's what you do in professional, what is this, productions?
One of these days, we're going to not do like the act outs. We're just going to do it. One of these days.
Maybe.
Segue.
So the first topic I'm a little unsure about, because I didn't hear all this stuff, but Fab players love the shredding tunic, but MTG players were a little butthurt about it. That's one of the topics for tonight. Rtn results so far, what we think of the meta. With World scheduled for November 6th, what do we think is going to happen with the meta if there's no new sets coming out? And then finally, we will have a Twitter giveaway. There'll be a lot of tweeting going on as we give away stuff. That will be happening very, very soon. And we'll make you wait till the end of the podcast to hear how to win in the Twitter giveaway. So let's just jump in right to this. I don't really know about the Magic thing. I saw the shredding. I know that's what it has to deal with. I saw them putting cards in the shredder like they promised. I didn't hear about the uproar. So one of you guys discuss that, because I didn't hear that stuff.
You didn't hear about the shredding? That's what I think the right way to call it is, the shredding.
That rings a bell. Was there something that happened like 2011, 2012 that like had to do with that? I can't remember.
So basically what happened, this is like the high points of it. LSS shredded the gold tunics just like they said they would. A bunch of Magic players who have no idea what they're talking about got upset and were posting pictures of how tunics are like $150, and they were like, imagine if Magic shredded promos. And you're like, okay, well, you can open a tunic in 3 different sets now, so I don't think we're shredding promos. Clearly, they're not shredding promos, and the card isn't.
Clearly, they are shredding promos.
They are shredding promos, and the card isn't only given as a promo,
right.
So it's not a big deal. And then I will say, I think that the only negative to come out of it, really, from the Fab side of things, was that people actually engaged.
Oh yeah,
just let them have it. Who cares? Like these. Yeah, because I think the issue is, like a lot of things, people are somehow convinced. I don't know how we haven't figured this out in modern society, but if somebody says, well, you know what? I never gave it a chance before, but this is it. I'm definitely not doing it now. Okay, that person was never giving it a chance. Okay? You don't have to change their mind. They were never giving it a chance. They're just saying that because they would like the attention. And you then are giving them the attention that they're begging for.
It reminds me of there was a guy in our show that said not a big fan of cosplay, and people got really pissed off because they don't like cosplay. It's okay that one person doesn't like cosplay. You can still like cosplay. If they don't like Fab, it's okay. I don't care if they hate it. Like we see Magic the Gathering on Tuesdays, they play right next to us. I don't care that they play Magic the Gathering. I don't care that they don't play Fab. We have equal number groups of people, and we both enjoy it. And that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just leave people alone, man. Like, let people do what they love.
Right. I will tell you things that I don't like, and you can disagree with them. I will still dislike them, and you will still like them. But I will just, you can vocally say it. You just don't have to fight. Be like, no, but you have to like this. It's the greatest thing ever. I know somebody that doesn't like ketchup, and it bewilders me. How the fuck do you not like ketchup? Like I don't fight in like, no, you should like ketchup and put it on everything. I will.
You should fight that person.
I do eat it in large portions when I'm around them, just to be like, oh, this is so good, because it's ketchup and everybody should love it. Just this person doesn't. I can't change their mind on it. Not going to try, but it doesn't hurt my affections for ketchup.
Yeah, it's you know what? This week I found out something very important that was very hurtful to me. Found out that Tommy from Fresh and Buds is apparently a Packers fan.
Oh, cool. Well, we don't have to talk to him anymore, so that's fine.
Yeah, well, that's there's some
that's a line. That's real close, right? Like that's really close to that line of somebody saying something like bad about your mama. And the irony, right, is that like Nick Butcher, I love Nick, where he's like, I'm going to come to Minnesota. We could talk about the Vikings Super Bowls. I was like, that would hurt my feelings if I was a Vikings fan. But I think people assume because I live in Minnesota, I'm a Vikings fan, but I didn't grow up in Minnesota. I grew up in Iowa and we didn't have a football team. So
you got free reign. You got to pick what you wanted.
Do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I should have picked the Patriots or somebody that was actually good for a long time, but my dad told me that I liked the Cowboys. So
the '90s Cowboys. I think
I've
talked about this.
I mean,
the book, "The Boys Will Be Boys." That book, you should read it if you have any.
I did.
Football.
Yeah,
that's that Trump. That Trump wrote that book, right? Is that Trump?
No.
Book? Oh, Boys Will Be.
No.
That wasn't him. Okay.
No, it was purely about them in the crazy shenanigans. I mean, they literally had a whorehouse off the practice facility. A bunch of the guys bought to, beg the strippers and whoever. I mean, it's they were cowboys.
boys will be boys.
What else can I say?
you know what? My adoration for the Cowboys. Look, every time I sit in my office, I sit with my signed Emmett Smith Sports Illustrated. It sits. I just look at it, to think about the great days that were.
Played fantasy football.
Keyword is word.
In 96, 97, the first time I ever played it.
Oh, when you had to do like the printouts.
Oh, dude, it's full paper. You use a newspaper, literally use a newspaper to record results. So if you were the commissioner, the job sucked. And everybody's like, are the results out? Are the results out? Like, because you'd have to go through every single one. Everybody double checked it. But anyway, first pick, I picked Emmett Smith. What an amazing pick. Like,
good old days, man.
Points galore. But yeah, if you're old like me and you played originally fantasy football, it was all paper. Could you? I mean,
yeah.
It's like it reminds me of in this game when they require us pen and paper to keep score. I'm like, come on, we got computers now. Why am I using a pencil and paper?
Rough, man.
But anyway,
yeah. I don't know. I thought the whole thing was like blown way out of proportion.
It was.
I thought the Magic players. It's like I don't know why they care. It definitely feels like one of those things where what it feels like to me is the pretty girl broke up with them. Like they lost players to Fab, and now they feel this constant need to like go on social media and post about how she's not actually as pretty as, well, she's not even that pretty. So like, I don't even care. I don't even care that she broke up with me. I have a pretty girl now. So whatever, I don't care. It's like, if you actually believe that, you don't have to keep saying it. The more you say like the more that you tell us that you think Fab is stupid, the more like people get like driven deeper into their belief that Magic sucks and Fab is great. At the end of the day, like, just if you want to play Magic, play Magic. If you want to play Fab, play Fab.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to play DBS and deal with, constant struggles and the misery of that game dying, do that. It's fine. It's
the thing that got me. The only thing that got me amidst all of it was the gaslighting, like the whole, like because no one, I assumed that Fab players weren't sharing it.
What the hell is gaslighting? I don't know.
It's where you convince somebody that what they are thinking is like completely invalid and make them basically think they're crazy. Like, I think like the traditional example is like an abusive husband and his wife, about how like she gets mad because he's home at like 9 p.m. and he's like, what are you talking about? Like, if you would have done this or that. I honestly, I can't think of a good example off the top of my head. So just disregard all that. I'll use a different word for Jason and for everyone else because I can't explain it. But like the whole them trying to flip it on us as if we're the fanboys, crazy people, because we were defending it.
Yeah,
it's like because we didn't go to them with the videos like, look at what LSS did, guys. Fuck you.
Where was all this? Where was all this
Just-
posting that I missed it?
It's Twitter.
Most of it was on Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I think I was just too busy this week, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just haven't been on much.
There was mainly just one person that I think, and I don't know that his intentions were even that like negative. I think
the tweet itself wasn't bad. Like the tweet itself,
felt-
I thought was
yeah.
like fine.
very
like,
neutral. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about that. It was all the people commenting under
Is
it
it
that
like a
right,
big name
yeah.
or no?
oh
I don't
god,
know who he is, but I don't know
do.
Magic.
I do
Like
know.
Saffron or something.
Oh, it wasn't.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was like the professor or something like that.
No.
No.
Yeah. I think it was just it was like a lot of things between different games, right? It's a misconception and a misunderstanding about how things operate and function. I think maybe my biggest issue was like there was somebody that was in the comments. It was somebody that we've talked about on this podcast before because he said that when CNC wasn't reprinted in Everfest, LSS failed the players. And he was walking around in the comments like a dumbass talking about how, it's like a slap to the face to everybody who doesn't own a tunic to do any tunics. It's like these are tunics that sell for $20,000. Like, how does that affect the market value of a tunic? If I won a $20,000 tunic,
I think I know who you're talking about. Just message me in the.
oh yeah. But like, if I won a $20,000 tunic, I have one of two options. I would put it in a safe and I would keep it there forever, or I would sell it and I would pay off some debt, right? Like those are my two options with the tunic. I would not sell my $150 tunic that I have in my deck box and then use the $20,000 tunic at Armory. Like I wouldn't do that. So it wouldn't change the market value of tunic at all to have 20 more tunics out in circulation that are $20,000 tunics.
I'll be honest. I'm just getting frustrated thinking about it again because I'm fine moving on. If you guys have said your piece,
It's funny thing that I want to add to this is about safes. And every time I come and I open a good card, I go, "Oh man, I just opened $100 card," and then I put it in my safe. My wife's like, "Why do you even tell me what the value of the cards is? You never sell them, and they just go into the safe." I'm like, doesn't it just make us all feel better? Just saying, "Hey, it's
so that way
bill that nobody's going to spend. I'm just going to put in here and lock up for eternity." But hey, whatever.
You know why? It's important because when you die before her, because we all know we will die.
She knows the
before our
value.
spouses.
yeah, that's fair.
She knows the value. You want her to get fair market value for that card. You don't want her losing money.
She's not dropping that shit off at Goodwill.
I'm gonna put a sticker on all the cards. Do not sell to Dietz Brothers. That's what's gonna be on them. Put the sticker on them. Don't sell to Dietz Brothers. We should be fine.
Yeah, we should be good.
Mhm.
Find Adam. He'll give you a fair market value.
Or Cortez.
He's always
I trust him. Yeah, he's a fair guy.
fair guy. Always does good value. Yep. Always good for
Just
it.
don't sell to those Dietz Brothers. I tell you.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Everybody out there, you heard it here first. Don't sell
I'm kidding. If you want quick deals, that's the guy. Like if you need to sell something, that's actually who you call because they'll probably.
I'm about to call Chris and just be like, "Hey, you got any interest in a first ed or alpha Mask of Momentum?" Because I got to.
Oh, you still have that, don't you?
I do.
Yeah, I got the plating. Just
Tectonic still? Yeah.
Just sitting in the
What'd you
safe.
get, Blake? You've got one too, right? Do you have?
bracers.
Oh, gotcha.
Great Forge. Yeah.
Yeah. We've all got our little piece.
And then together we all put them together and we make Voltron.
Just Voltron out. Yeah.
And we save the universe. So that's what we do at night. So when we're busy, we're all saving the fucking universe for everybody here.
That's why I wasn't here. That's why I wasn't here last week. I had a secret mission I had to get done with.
Yeah. So,
all right, so
RTNs.
Let's talk about some RTN results. I have the article up. I can give the high view. It's pretty extensive. They always do a pretty good job of that, but I'll throw some of the information out there at the end of it. Like once I kind of give you a good idea of it, I want to hear thoughts because some of them are interesting to me. I read through it pretty good. So far in Road to Nationals, it looks like Briar, Phi, and Prism are the favorites who have amassed the highest number of players between them. Highest number of players. That's important. Viserai is right behind that, and Lexi is actually leading what they are calling the Ranger Renaissance because she's actually right behind Viserai. She's the 6th most represented hero. Briar is leading the charge with the highest number of players and racked up 4 wins. So she's got 4 wins this week, which is interesting. Isserai did well for himself last week and got another 7 victories. So it looks like the Runeblades, Flesh and Runeblade is alive and well. Don't you worry. Continue down the path of Flesh and Runeblade. Oh man, I thought we were out of this. I thought we were done, but
nope,
it's never going to end. Lexi won 4 events this week, which is very interesting.
Were there?
Bravo. What's that?
How many events were there?
It doesn't say how many events there were. It might say at the bottom. I might get there in a minute. It's a pretty good number each week because it's only 4 weeks this year, the whole season. So it's pretty tight window. But Lexi got her 4.
They had to cut. Do you know why they cut it down?
I don't actually.
They didn't want to lose another hero to Living Legends, so they had to cut it.
Yeah, cut all the seasons a couple weeks shorter just to be sure.
We can't print them this fast, guys.
Bravo got a win, which is awesome. OG Bravo, the OG.
He's good.
Oldham
Nobody plays him. He's not.
Yeah.
He's not exciting enough. He doesn't wear a short enough skirt.
Let's be totally honest. If you were
skin.
No one who was an OG Bravo player was playing him because he was exciting, ever. Not a single time.
It's because they loved him.
Yeah, it's because they're committed.
Pummeling a Crippling Crush is one of my favorite plays
yeah.
in Flesh and Blood history. So just pummeling a Crippling Crush, there's nothing like you think you've blocked enough and then you just lose your whole hand, take damage, and then I laugh.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's a great play.
I mean, if you're about to, yeah, I guess. Okay.
Yeah. So Oldham won 2. One of the more interesting ones is that both Wizards got a win. We had an Icelander win and a Kano win this weekend.
Okay.
Dash took 3.
Dash. I saw a resurgence in Dash in top 8s. Yep.
So the Warriors of Solana, all 3 heroes of Solana got wins this week. Dorinthia got a win. Prism, she picked up 4 wins, and Bolton. Oh no, Bolton. Sorry, he didn't quite. He was the third one. He got a bunch of tops, but didn't get a win. So he was.
Where
close,
is this article? I was trying to find it.
It's just on the articles page.
All right.
So I thought my favorite one. So my favorite one is how they end it. They said, "You've got Levia, who maintains a strong following despite not winning any tournaments, alongside her finals finish. She had 2 more top 8s, so she got 3 top 8s. Reinar made 5 top 8s. And then we had, of course, Azalea didn't do anything. She had no tops and no wins. Dromai, interestingly enough, failed to secure a tournament win this week, despite 16 top 8 appearances, which
she does have 1 win on the season.
Yeah. Yep. She won 1 last week.
Yep.
But I thought it was interesting because she's got that number, that weird number, right? 16 top 8s without a win is interesting.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Feels like it's got some Katsu vibes to it. Or Dorinthia vibes.
I think this is where this RTN season is craziness, is the fact that it comes down to who makes the top 8 with you.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
What is your matchups once you get into the top 8? Because we've been talking about this on different chats of like, what deck do you pick? So first idea for me picking a deck is rolling a dice. And that's 100% serious. I'm not joking. It's literally, I'm going to line up decks. I'm going to roll a dice, and that's what I'm going to play. That's option 1. I kind of want to do some dragons because,
who doesn't want to do dragons?
But there's so many good options, and every option has a bad matchup. Unless you really believe then you're like, there is no bad matchup. I just win. And then you ask, how'd you do? Well, it's happened. Well, that was your bad matchup.
The irony is the fact that normally when somebody does that, right? Like when you talk to somebody like, "Hey, how was your RTN on Sunday?" and they go, "Oh, I ran into like these 2 decks a bunch of times." You go, "Okay, man. Well, but there's only like 4 good decks. You ran into half the field. Like that's not really an excuse." The issue right now is like, really, every deck is pretty good. Like there are kind of tiers of decks, right? Like it's hard to assume. Like Levia does occupy a weird space where she can be very powerful. The problem is her floor is really low, where she can just die if she gets ground
You know
down
what?
for a long time. Like
I
it's
don't know.
weird.
I ran her an armory, and I went 3-0 to dying to blood debt. So
Oh yeah.
that's 3-0 dying to blood debt. That's what I'm supposed to do, right? With
Yeah.
Levia?
I mean, you either win by avoiding it or die to it. Like those are your two options, which is, ever since she came out, that's always been the big gripe with her, right? Is you live in a world where you live by the blood debt, die by the blood debt.
Yep.
It is funny though, because with Dromai, she is the most, I've heard the most difference of opinions. And I think me and you talked about this, Blake, about either people think she's awesome or complete trash.
Yep.
And I don't think
100%.
she's either. I think she is the same as 70% of the heroes that have been released
right now. Yep.
That is a mathematical number I just came up with that is probably can be proven. But 70% of the heroes are just pretty good. Like you could take Bravo and you can win in a field pretty easily, or you could get in the top 8 and 3 prisms sneak in there, and now your life's going to be a little bit harder to finish.
Yeah. You could also get into a top 8 with Bravo with 3 prisms, but you're 5 through 8 or 1 through 4, and they're on the other side of the bracket.
Yeah, and you
kill
don't
each other.
Yeah,
and they run into an aggro deck that you
or they run into
finals.
Briars.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yep. And then you find
you get Briar, which
yep.
Briar's a pretty good matchup for Bravo. Bravo usually can do pretty good against Briar. But that's the other thing is you can't build a deck around another. Like you can't. Shield is really hard to run now in Bravo because you just need other stuff to be more diverse. You can't tech for one deck. You got to tech for styles of decks. Like an aggro style, a control style. So it's fun. It's cool because and it's going into a CC Rtn. I don't think there's a way to even knowing your local meta, I couldn't guess what will show up there.
Yeah.
I there's no way I could guess it.
That'd be really tough.
I was joking, in our group chat and with a buddy of mine, I said maybe the best thing that happened to me was that the CC Rtn landed on the day of my anniversary, which means I will not be at the CC Rtn, which means I don't have to fret about what deck to play. Because I'm going to be completely honest, I've got no clue. Like my natural inclination is just to play a wizard because that's what I like to play. But I feel like an Icelander deck needs more information and a Kano deck needs more information. I can't play either of those decks with partial information for the meta. When the meta gets super wide, it gets even harder because now any random person could just go, well, I don't have 2 more cards, but there's 2 wizards now, so I guess I'll put 2 more AB in. And then you could get yourself in a scenario where even if they're not necessarily a deck built for that, they could be a deck that accidentally has 2 blues on the turn that you try to kill them. Which is which is an awful place to be. So I don't know. It's weird right now. I don't know. Personally, I prefer the open meta. I think it pushes the skill cap of the game much higher. But I know some people prefer the triangle because it's easier to structure their decks, to have sideboard tech and things like that. Where do you guys land at that?
I mean, I think it depends on what you value, right? Because if you're looking for pure piloting capability, I think that a triangle really set format is going to be the best at giving you like the pure pilot, like the winners are the pilots that can pilot that deck all the way through 16 rounds, whatever the fuck it ends up being, right? Cleanly. If you want to see but if you want to see like interesting deck builds and excitement, like, and you're watching and you don't want to just watch Starvo mirrors and you get more excitement, and I think it's more fun when it's a more open meta, and I think that it's more fun to compete within personally. But I get if you were like a fucking card counter that wants to just go and like play clean and win, then I totally understand why you would prefer the triangle meta where you're just putting your brain against their brain for 16 rounds and playing a deck clean. Like that, totally valid. That's not what I like personally.
So I I disagree with the fact that I think a triangle meta does not bring the better player. I think an open meta brings your better players out, because a triangle meta has runs capability where you get on a run of your best matchup or you get on a run of your worst matchup. And no matter how good of a player you are, if you get on a run of your bad matchups, you lose. If you get a run on your good matchups, you win.
I mean,
So
you're gonna get that though, that statistical deviation regardless, right? Like even in the
Not
triangle meta, you're gonna have runs in a triangle meta too.
No, but I just think in an open meta where you don't have good, bad, if your majority of your matchups are 50-50, which I feel like a lot of them are in the current meta, it comes down to not making an error. So in 50-50 matchup, whoever makes the error loses that game. That's just the way 50-50 works.
Theoretically, yep.
So in 80-20, the 80's got to make 2-3 mistakes for that 20% to win, whereas that's where
so you're making my point though, like because in a triangle meta you're gonna have 80-20s,
right, where 20 will still win occasionally, but 80 can make a mistake and still win. An 80 can make one mistake and still win in an 80-20, whereas if you make one mistake in a 50-50, you lost that matchup. Whereas in an 80-20, you can make 1-2 mistakes and still win.
But in an open meta, you're getting the 50-50s.
Right, which is the better player cap. That's where you're showing your better players your 50-50 matchups. That's where your better pilot is coming from, is what I'm saying.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's right or wrong. That's just my thinking.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's true, though, because realistically, what you would prefer is for a meta to be determined or a game to be determined by skill, not by making the right meta choice. I think that's the issue, is that, and I understand where good players are coming from. They don't want to lose matchups because they picked the wrong deck, and they want more information so they can theoretically pick the right deck. But I think that we exist in a world right now where you can pick the wrong deck and still win a lot of matchups, because the wrong deck doesn't put you on the wrong side of 80-20, it puts you on the wrong side of maybe 60-40, because there aren't a lot of massive losing matchups unless you play Kano or Bravo or Oldham and you run into a Prism. Then you're probably just in a bad spot where you're going to lose. But it feels like every deck, like, don't you guys think that every deck sits in that spot right now where they have a ton of 50-50 matchups and then probably one matchup that's just borderline unwinnable?
I think so. I would agree with that. But the nice thing is, what to good players that are bitching about this, that's why you have an RTN season, because it gives you the data to make a decision of what deck does have the advantage, and then you can hone your skills in your deck building into that hero. So this is RTNs are purely a data collection time, and you need mass numbers, because you see some of the, and no offense to some smaller communities, and you see some of the heroes that win, and you're like, yeah, that wouldn't fly here in Minnesota. Sorry, it wouldn't. I mean, there's a reason why 5 Minnesotans go to North Dakota, and there's 5 Minnesotans in the top 8.
Yeah,
I mean,
not a slam on on North Dakota, but like a prop up on Minnesota.
I mean, Andrew. I mean, I don't know if anybody knows this. He's the reigning Star Wars Destiny World Champion.
We should mention that. We should mention that more
top
often.
10, the Pro Tour. So he's just won. I mean, Patrick, who won that, he's done good in events, and who was out there, Tickle and Bates. I mean, there's just you have a lot of great players that have done well in huge events that come from the state. So your data is, and there's other states like that around the country, and groups where you see the good players in the Pro Tour, where when you look at their meta and what came out, you'll take a lot more from that group than a one-off group here and there and there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
for sure.
I think one of the best things that LSS has done too is provide sort of a buffer, because it is hard in these metas. I think they created now a game where it's very balanced, it's very open, and that is sometimes hard. Sometimes you can just make the wrong pick, and that feels really bad on a weekend if you've got 2 or 3 RTN scheduled, and you just go get dumpstered because you picked the wrong deck to go to the RTN. It feels bad. And if you're staring down the barrel of another one of those the next week, it could be defeating. But for a lot of people, after they have maybe a CC RTN where they picked the wrong hero and ran into the wrong matchup, very next weekend, either in their town or maybe a couple hours away, they could drive and go play in a draft meta or in a draft RTN, which instantly changes things because now it very much becomes a player skill thing. I think that's another world where LSS has done right by us, the players, because they value their sealed or their limited formats. They think that limited is a very important part of this game. They lean heavily into the draft format, proved by the fact that a lot of games wouldn't put, the Helios or the Phoenix Flame and some of those things into a token slot that anybody could take. But LSS says, hey, sealed and draft is going to be a huge part of this game. It's going to be a part of what determines people's qualifications to nationals, and it's going to be a part of the nationals competition. I would assume it'll be a part of worlds. So in my mind, the fact that they've developed the game around that means that they are putting an emphasis on the RTN level, which is a good thing for them because they kind of put their money where their mouth is on a week-to-week basis.
The whole draft, I did that for the very first time on Tuesday and just did really, 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 really bad at it. I got forced into Phi kind of because pulling a double M with ninja stuff right away, you're kind of screwed to do that. But and then I just drafted poorly, and I hate drafted like 4 cards. And what turns out is when you hate draft somebody else, you actually just hate draft yourself.
Yeah.
So I learned
that's
that
like a
it's
super.
it's almost well because blue wizard cards. Once I figured out I had Kyle, so I hate drafted him Dromai at first, and then realized when it came the other way that he wasn't on Dromai, that he was on wizard. And so I had basically within 4 of me, I knew what everybody was on. So I couldn't change because I knew I had 2 Dromais for the last one coming this way, and I knew I had another ninja next to me. And so then going back to Kyle, I screwed him again by holding blue wizard cards because why would you give Icelander? And then it turns out by doing all that, all I did was F myself. So that was the moral of the story.
Yeah.
So we're gonna practice drafting. This is what I'm hearing from all this.
It's what?
Said we're all gonna practice drafting.
Well, you learn a lot about drafting pretty quickly by doing one, and I just hadn't done the set yet. And
that's totally true. You weren't in Vegas.
We drafted a bunch in Vegas, but Jason wasn't in Vegas.
That was my first time drafting, and I learned a ton in that little one. I'm like, okay, well, I got my lines down. I knew what people were drafting around me, and I picked them right. So I'm like, okay, as long as I know that helps me to decide on my hero and what I stay on. I will say though, RTN, my big prediction for CC is the continued rise of Phi.
Yeah,
the red deck win will slowly come out, and I think he'll pop up more and more.
Yeah. Then the question becomes what counters him, and do you play the counter to him or the counter?
And I don't know what counters him right now, which counters him very, very well, I should say.
Yeah. But I see that's what's interesting to me, right? Because here we sit in July, and normally in a lot of games, the meta changes relatively quickly because sets are so fast. But I think with them announcing the dates for everything, the thing that stuck out to me most was definitely the dates for Worlds being early November, because they said a set is going to drop in November. That's the next set. Our next, Dynasty is coming in November, but they can't release it the weekend of the World Championships and make it legal because it's impossible to get. People traveling from all over the world aren't going to have access to the cards prior to leaving.
They just
travel.
make it not legal.
Yeah, so they could release it, but it wouldn't be legal. What wouldn't surprise me is if they didn't do some sort of side event or something where you could get maybe a week early, get your hands on it. Maybe it releases the weekend after or something, or 2 weeks after. But you can't make it legal, and if you can't make it legal, then we have from July until November to solve the meta, to fix the meta, to resolve the meta. And then the question becomes, do they alter the meta? But it doesn't feel like an LSS
I don't think they
thing
need to
artificially affect the meta.
It's also
to
super
change it
early
for
to
Worlds.
tell.
Right. So far, so good. I mean, all the Bravo meta, the Briar meta, it was immediate, it was apparent, and it happened
Right.
within the first week. This
Yeah.
one's not doing that.
Yeah.
Yep.
My prediction was World pre-release will happen on World's weekend for the new set. That will be because why wouldn't you do it then, right?
Right.
You're going to have Worlds.
Maybe
why not have the
organize it
world premiere of your new set at Worlds?
at Worlds? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is entirely possible. It's a supplemental set. You could get some hype going around the game. I think the
because you can't draft
issue right
it
now
if it's
is
supplemental,
yeah,
right?
right. You can't draft it, so you can't do like a sealed or draft format. It would
Right.
just allow people to maybe get their hands on it at the World Championships, which maybe encourages some people to go. I think I would 100% agree with Jason's point, which is the fact that as of right now, I know we're early meta, but Briar and Starvo were solved relatively quickly
In-chain.
because
Yep.
in-chain. And my argument in card games is always that designers can try as hard as they can to not make something broken, but it takes the players all of 30 minutes for something to be released before someone figures it out. Not because the designers aren't smart, but because players are degenerates and that's all they do is try to
And there's
break things.
millions of players. So.
Oh yeah.
There's a million minds on it and a bunch of groups and teams where people bounce ideas off one another, and it's not sealed in a vacuum with new sets coming out later. So my mind would say that like this meta will ebb and flow, but to me that says also that the meta for Worlds could be changing up into the weeks before. And I'm really curious, maybe more than anything, what will happen to like your local armory with your grinders. Will they even go play at events? Will they do something leading up to that? Will there be another PQ season prior to Worlds for people to earn some sort of invite to the event?
And you never know what they could drop for certain cards at any point or do something. You could have a surprise. You never know if another type of class battles product could just drop in September that adds 2-3 cards that a decks could use, or there's so much stuff that could happen.
Yeah, it's interesting because like LSS is so forward with all of their information that sometimes that can be. I'm curious if we finally found a window where that could be like not a negative, but to some degree negative. I think competitive players want a changing meta. They don't want to sit in a meta for a long time, but also generally speaking, in card games, every card game I've ever played, and I think every card game ever in the history, is there's typically a deck that you can target. And right now, there isn't a deck. We're 2 weeks into RTN season, and granted, it's 50-50 on CC versus sealed, but there's no deck to target right now.
Mhm.
So if you're building a deck for an event, like you're not targeting anything specific, you're just playing the deck you think is best. But going into a World's meta, what in the name of God would you even do? Would you just play the deck you think you're best at piloting? Is that your only hope?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. That's something I'm
show with Bravo, right?
You know certain people.
Truthers, where you at?
Alex Vore will be there with Kano.
So like I could never be that full truther. Like I love certain decks and I always go back to Kano and I always go back to Bravo. I love playing those decks.
Yep. Same.
Yep.
But I love playing different decks so much that I can never like I played Kano a lot. Now I've put him down. I've played Bravo like once, but I haven't built ready to go. But I really won't fire those off until I, get my Dromai fix and get a little bit more new Lexi fix. I haven't even played Briar. I fixed Briar. I haven't even played a game with her.
I don't know. I'm not a truther either. And I can't even say because I always classified myself as a control player, but this game not really having that truly, like what I'm used to at least. There's something that I literally can't quantify. I don't know what it is because I found it in Valda. I found it in Kasai. I found it in like early Katsu, like before Turtle Katsu was a thing. I found it in Prism. I love Prism. And I'm getting vibes of it from Dromai. I literally don't know what it is about those decks. So I can't even quantify it. No idea. No idea what I like.
love Volda, but like
Volda, like of all decks, I was playing it and I was like, dude, this just rocks. Like I just enjoy playing it. Of all the fucking decks,
you could make the new thing is, sifting Earthlore Bounty Bravo.
I know. I literally don't care at all about Blitz, but I have Volda built because Sift, and
but
like
that's what I'm saying. You can make sifting Earthlore Bounty Bravo and basically
Earthlore Bounty Bravo.
Get your
get my Volda fix.
Get your Volda fix with Bravo and then you could play all the big stuff, all your big Thunder Quakes, Pulverizes, Cripplings, and just every attack is a shit ton.
Hold on though, are you inferring that Dane could play Guardian but not have to buy Tectonic Plating again?
That's what I'm saying.
It's been fucking 3 times, and I don't own one right now, and I will never buy one again. That will not happen.
I could find I wish I knew where my rainbow foil Tectonic Plating is, because I can't find it anywhere. I've been looking for a month now.
Oh, Jesus.
I have one somewhere. No idea where it is.
If it makes you feel better, I sent a picture to the other group chat today because I was like, okay, I need to take all these decks that I've piecemealed random things from. Because you build a bunch of decks and you've got your CNCs and your E-strikes that you have to move around because you don't have multiple playsets or you only have enough.
That's why I have 6 of each of those.
Right. I'm actually in the process right now of working on getting my rainbow foil CNCs so that I can have them just in case I need them at anything. But like I've got 2 playsets of tomes, I've got 4 E-strikes, I've got 4 CNCs, like stuff like that. But I still can't move I have to move stuff around. So I have so many backwards. I was just like, I'm done with it. I have a bunch of decks that I've like moved stuff back and forth or pulled things out to add to other decks and build things for this, that, or another. That today I was like, I'm putting stuff away. And I did you not? I sent a picture. There was a 2-inch tall stack of Majestics that I had to put in my binder because they've just been in deck boxes of decks that I haven't touched in months.
Oh, I did that. So that's legitimately what I did with Uprising. I tore down all my decks and I put everything in binders. And I had like the stack like this of just cards that you pull out of decks when you're in a hurry. And I put everything away. And I'm glad to say I built 7 or 8 decks, and this is all I have for my free stack right now from moving stuff around. So I'm doing pretty good.
I got all my high rarity stuff put away. I have a deck box full of like my double open deck box. So it's like, probably 150-ish cards of just commons and rares that need to be put away. Because I keep all of my foils in their own. I have like 2 boxes of foils. So that way, when I'm looking for cards, the first place I check is my foils box.
Oh, I do 100%. Check the foils first. Put the foil in if you haven't. Crease it a little bit more so I can find it easily while I'm playing the game. If I'm shuffling, want to be able to cut right to it.
A little extra curve to it. That's what I do. I keep them single sleeve for that reason. Spoiler alert: I double sleeve everything just because I like the shuffle feel. It just so happens to keep my cards from curling. Like my decks are perfectly straight because of that. So
Dane, because we haven't talked about it, tell us what the Twitter giveaway is.
Oh yeah, so we got. What we're going to be doing is over the next 3 weeks, so we still have our heralds and our playmats to give away, and we're doing those on Twitter. We're going to be announcing individually on our Twitters what it is that we're giving away. We're going to start with 3 weeks of heralds. So I don't know the order yet. It'll be me, Blake, or Jason this coming week, and we're going to list what we're doing for that giveaway. And then end of the week, whoever it is will announce, and then we'll go on to the next of us. So the next 3 weeks, we're giving our Herald playsets away. Then after those,
retweet each other's giveaways.
Yeah. We'll retweet them all. So if you don't like following Blake, then don't worry about it. Just follow me, and it's fine. But
you're missing out. My Twitter is. I got a good Twitter.
I got to step. So I've re-stepped my game back up because I was completely AWOL for like 2 weeks. I had something pretty drastic happen this weekend, so I don't want to get into it or anything. But
I talked about it. It's no big deal.
I like how I made it sound like someone died. I got married.
Someone did. It's you.
No, and then following those 3 weeks of the Herald giveaways, we're going to give away our mats. So I'm giving away the Doomsday. Jason's got the Eclipse, and Blake has Celestial Cataclysm. So that'll just be same scenario just for the following 3 weeks, and I'm sure we'll announce them week by week too.
Yeah.
Keep you guys up to date.
We'll announce the winner on our Twitter. We can announce the winner on the podcast too. So we'll probably announce the winner on the podcast, and then we can announce it
on Twitter.
Mirage Eye?
I'm just flashing my dragons over here. Flashing my dragons. Because
so
after we're done recording this, me and Dane are going to have an illusionist throwdown that you will see posted on the channel probably within a day or two after you listen to this podcast.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going to happen.
Be sure to like and subscribe. We didn't hit that at the top of the episode, but do that because it doesn't matter, but fucking subscribers.
Oh, it matters. Makes us feel good.
It does. It motivates us when we're going up, and we haven't been going up.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
What are you talking about? Well, we just always go up, right? Just
constant growth. We've been stuck at this 1540 bullshit for months.
Yeah.
So if you haven't subscribed, we would love it if you consider doing that and just letting us know we're doing something that you like. And if not, then don't subscribe, and that's cool too.
Yeah, it doesn't really.
That's not cool. Much. So just throwing that out there.
It's not super not cool. All right. Well, cool, I mean, I'm down for wrapping this up. So you guys got any final thoughts?
Let's wrap it.
Wrapping.
I think we wrap it.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another week. Like I said, be sure to like and subscribe. Make sure you follow us on our Twitters listed above our camera pictures here. You make sure that you're following, turn that bell on just because you're going to get those announcements then when our fucking giveaways go live. And we're also pretty active on there. I know Jason's getting back into it. I'm getting back into it. Blake's kind of always just been going. So, yeah, join us there.
Get back into shit. I've never left it.
You've been pretty AWOL. No, it's not just been me. But anyways, appreciate everyone joining us again. And be on the lookout for the gameplay. And we'll talk to y'all next week. Peace.